We are outside of Beaumont Tower for another edition of our weekly previews. This week, MSU takes on 3-3 Purdue. I'm Jeff Preston.
I'm Robert Bondi.
Purdue is, they're improved over last season. Obviously, it's hard to get a whole lot worse. They went 1-11 with their one win coming against not an FBS school. It was Indiana State. So MSU heads down there. Although Purdue is, maybe not the strongest opponent MSU is going to see on their schedule, Purdue gave MSU probably their hardest game in the Big Ten last year. MSU took care of them at home, but it was only 14-0, and Connor Cook didn't have a passing touchdown in that game.
No, Connor Cook struggled in that game last year. He only was 13 of 25, just over only 100 yards in passing.
Mm-hmm.
The one touchdown pass came from Tony Lippett on a reverse double pass, and I think he found Josiah Price. Mm-hmm. The other touchdown coming on a defensive scoop and score by Denikos Allen. So, yeah, last year, Purdue game fits. I don't know exactly what it was. Maybe it came down to Coach Hazel's, game plan for Purdue. But really, they gave him fits, and that was something that I know this week was talked about a little bit. But even more about that is Michigan State Purdue have had a budding rivalry in the past. Anytime they've gone down there, there's been games where Michigan State might have had it won, and it came, they gave it up. Mm-hmm. Same thing can be said last time Michigan State went down there, where they, had to score, I think, 11 points in the fourth quarter to knock off the Boilermakers. So definitely a situation where, regardless of the records, these games have been close.
Purdue's 7-6 in the last 13 times that these teams have played, and you alluded to it. Obviously, when these teams do play for whatever reason, and there's years where Purdue has been okay, MSU hasn't been so good, vice versa. Either way, the games are usually close when these two teams play. And, Coach D'Antonio talked a little bit in his weekly press conference about Purdue. It seems like a team that kind of plays up to their competition a little bit. Here's Coach D'Antonio now about that.
They're more productive on offense when you look at their numbers now compared to their numbers last year. They're trying to find their way in the quarterback position. He did a nice job last week. They've got some guys hurt a little bit in and out, but I think they're staying the course a little bit. And usually when you stay the course and you allow yourself, or people allow you to critique what you're doing, you can get better. I think that's what they're doing. They seem to play up to their competition. And maybe when they're favored, they play down a little bit. I don't know. But they seem to play up to their competition. And you watch the Notre Dame game, you watch the Iowa game, you watch this past game, you're impressed by what they've done. You look at last year's game, what they were able to accomplish, and it was a close football game.
As we mentioned earlier, MSU is heading down to West Lafayette to play Purdue, and that's something that MSU hasn't really done in a while, not necessarily going down to West Lafayette, but going on the road in general. Their last road game was that loss to Oregon, and since then they've been sitting pretty at home, and, there's definitely a different process just logistically going on the road than there is playing games at home.
There really is. Michigan State, on the first road game, was at Oregon. We all know that result went down. It wasn't great for Michigan State. But, there's something that can be said from that. Ed Davis this week talked about how it was beneficial going out there going into this week because they now know that they have to communicate better. They know what it's like to be on the road, to be in a hostile environment. Connor Cook kind of said the same thing about that, talking about how this is, it's nice to have a road game under the belt because they now know what is needed to play on the road. But like you said, D'Antoni talked a little bit about, the changes that are made from, going from playing at home to going on the road, how they switch things up. Here's what Coach D'Antoni had to say about, the adjustments they make when it comes to pregame rituals and whatnot when they head on the road.
We change things up when we go on the road because we want to keep things fresh, we want to make it different. And want them to have some of the same dynamics they have at home, but at the same time it's different. So you got to approach it differently. So we do some different things that we don't do at home. I think that's a good thing for us. We've won away from home. We have a pretty good record right now away from home as well.
And now it's that time of the week where we do our predictions, and we haven't been having too bad of a season so far. Some of the scores are a little bit off, but there've been some. I was right about Oregon, so.
Yeah, I guess I'm the one that's only got one wrong. I was going with the gut that day.
So for this game, I don't think that there's a whole lot of mystery to this. I don't think either one of us are going to come out and predict what would be a colossal upset for Purdue, a program win for Purdue. I have MSU winning this game pretty handily. If you look at Purdue's wins this season, they're really against some teams that are not that great. They have gone 3-3, and they are improved, and maybe they'll play up to their competition, but I think if you go with any of those reasonings, you're trying to talk yourself into Purdue a little bit. I have MSU winning 45-7.
All right, I'm with you there, Jeff. Similar on my pick. I have Michigan State winning 38-10. And kind of what you got at, I think if you're going to talk about Purdue winning this game, you really are talking them up. You know, yes, I think they will play the competition, but the same thing for me. Purdue's pass defense ranks 105th out of 125, I believe, in the country. That's not good. Connor Cook's going to have a lot of motivation after last week, only going 11 of 29 to get back on the field and, get back in the groove. So I think that's going to be an area that Michigan State's going to exploit Purdue in the passing game. And I think they're also going to try and, send a point, send a message that, blowing leads are not something that they're going to do. Last week, obviously, against Nebraska, let them back into the game. I don't think, that Purdue has the firepower to even get back in the game in that situation. But I think Michigan State's going to, keep it going, put, the foot down on the pedal until the final whistle. I think they want to take care of. So, any doubt that anyone may have about this team and letting teams back into the game will go away after this week.
There definitely was a lot left to be desired after the Nebraska game with that certain aspect, and I agree. I think that MSU is going to keep their foot on the gas pedal and win pretty handily this week. That's all for us for now. We will be back following the Purdue game for recaps and analysis. I'm Jeff Preston.
I'm Robert Bardi.
We will see you later.